Hey everyone, my name is Dion and I'm an Indonesian-based illustrator who works mostly for US clients. I do works for clients such as the New York Times, Science Magazine, Facebook, but the most work that I do are actually for publishers. And I think that's why a lot of people ask me, how do I get into the book cover industry? And I still remember when I was in college, thinking about being a book cover illustrator. That seemed really cool, but I also didn't know where to start. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can start and try to enter the book cover industry. Before that, I want to show you a little bit of my portfolio. A bulk of my work actually comes from creating book covers. And one of my favorite ones is actually the ones for the Chronicles of Crestomancy by Diana Wynne Jones. I want to share how I got started in this industry, but at the same time, I want to help you identify if this industry is suitable for you or not. When I was in college, I was super interested in book cover industry because, well, to be honest, it looked kind of easy. Well, not easy in a way that I can do that, but I can imagine what kind of work I have to put into creating a book cover. And at the same time, it seemed glamorous, having your illustration being displayed at bookstores. That's probably like the childhood dream of every illustrator. Let's start with the pro. Pro number one of working for book cover illustration industry is that you have ample time to create an illustration. Unlike editorial illustration, where sometimes you can only have a couple of hours to do the illustration, for book covers, you can have 1 up to 3 months to finish just a single illustration. So you can actually spend your time rendering, thinking, creating concept, and making a piece that you really like. Pro number two, this is a pro that I didn't know until I started in this industry. If you get deals from major publishers like Scholastic, Penguin Random House, all those kind of publishers, you actually get paid a lot of money. Some of my book covers start at $3,000, but it goes all the way up to $5,000. Another pro of working in this industry is that they hire you for what you're good at and what you're known for. So for example, I really enjoy drawing clouds, so they always come up to me with projects that relates to clouds, nature, something that is whimsical, something that is fantastical, something that I really enjoy to work on. So those are the pros. Now let's talk about some of the cons that might make you rethink whether or not you want to come into this industry. The first one is that it actually is a lot of work. You might think that you're just creating one illustration, but you are actually given a manuscript, and although you're not expected to read everything, it is important, if you want to do a good job, to finish reading the manuscript before creating ideas. You want to input some flavor, some details from the story so that your illustration can be significant to sell the book and to relate to the story. Another con is that a lot of the book cover illustrations are done for younger audiences or young adult audiences. And there are a lot of books with similar stories, similar backgrounds, and sometimes your illustrations can be directed into a direction to which it looks kind of predictable. I'm often pushed to create drawings with illustration with the subject that is in the middle so that it is clear and it stands out on the bookshelf. Well, it's just part of the business, but sometimes you want to try a more challenging composition, but there's no room for that in the marketing department. You might rethink your decision of entering this market or not, but if you still feel that this is the one for you, I'm going to share some tips how you can start getting connected and getting started in this industry. Tip number one is your portfolio. Regardless of all the other tips and tricks that I'll be sharing in this video, you need to have a strong portfolio first. I mean, that kind of is, everybody's talking about strong portfolio. But let me actually show you what I mean when I think of a strong book cover illustration portfolio. First, you need to have your own voice, or you need to have your own flavor. It's not about style, it's not about look, but it's about how you think and how you represent a certain subject into your own illustration. For example, you can ask someone to draw something about death. They might draw skulls, they might draw blood, but if you ask me to draw something about death, I will draw clouds. I will draw something that is quiet and serene, and that kind of voice is really important to set you apart from the competitors. When they choose an illustrator for a book cover, they are trying to find someone with a suitable voice in order to deliver the mood, the theme, and the story of a certain manuscript or a certain writing or a certain story. So again, it is really important to have a portfolio with a strong voice. Another thing is, for your portfolio, you don't actually need to have a lot of book cover samples. You can have one or two, but what is more important in your portfolio is that consistency. When you're entering a book cover illustration industry, they want to hire someone that is suitable, as I said. It's kind of like a matchmaking. So if you're showing a lot of different styles, a lot of different color palettes, and a lot of different voice, a lot of different opinions in your art, they might be confused as to how they can use you, what kind of manuscript, what kind of genre, what kind of audience are you suitable for. So for the portfolio, there are two things that you need to remember. First, you need to have your own voice, and second, you need to be consistent. Another thing that you need is connection. I'm not talking that you need to be born to a family that has certain kind of affiliation to publishers, but you can actually start building your own connection. The easiest way is actually just by sending an email. So back in college, me and a couple of my friends, we started a mailing list. We kind of researched name of art directors, what projects they work on, whether we like those projects, whether those are related to our portfolio, and then we start sending them emails. I sent kind of like 10 emails per day during my senior year, so that's probably like 365 times 10 emails. That's a lot of emails, and I didn't get replies from probably 98% of those, but you need to start doing this. And sometimes they don't reply you, not because they don't like your work, but just because they don't have something that is suitable for you yet. They might put you into their archive, and who knows, 2-3 years later, you'll get contacted by them, which actually happened to me. In my senior year, I went for a scholarship interview, and one of the interviewers was actually from Penguin Random House. We got in contact, and when I moved to New York City, I got in contact with her. I showed my portfolio, and she felt that at that time, she didn't really have anything for me. But then, just last month, I got contacted by my agent that this art director, she reached out to my agent because she remembered my work and she found a project that is suitable. And it's not a small project, it's actually a big project. So I'm really thankful for that. Another way you can build your connection is actually just by talking to your alumni or your professor. I got very lucky because one of my professors, Tom Kasmer, he's actually the husband of Marie Grandper. If you don't know who she is the lady who created the illustrations for Harry Potter novels. So I talked to him and I asked him, do you know anyone that I should contact? Because I'm graduating soon and I want to share my portfolio. And he connected me to someone in Scholastic. I'm not going to name drop anyone here, especially art directors, because I do not want people to start emailing art directors or sending portfolio, but they're not ready or they just find these names from my video. So you need to do your own research. But I set up a meeting and I asked this art director if I can meet him in person, if I can buy him coffee. And he said, yeah, sure, just come to the office. I left him some of my illustrations and I didn't hear back. Well, to me, it seemed like he didn't really like my work, or maybe I was just overthinking it. But 2 weeks after my graduation, I was eating alone at Bryant Park and I got an email saying that I got my very first book cover gig for Scholastic, and I flipped because my first ever proper commission out of college was a Scholastic book, and I couldn't be any happier. So the moral of the story is, go out, reach out to people. If they don't want to meet you, they just won't reply or they will say no. But be genuine. When you try to meet people, don't say that, hey, I want to meet you because I need work. Actually go, and if you think you're not that good enough, actually go and ask them, do you think it's okay if I show you my portfolio and ask you for your advice? I think around 60 to 70% people that I asked that, they replied yes, and they gave me advices so that I could improve my portfolio. I also never really asked them for a formal meeting. I always ask them, can I buy you coffee? Do you have any available time during lunch? Because I don't want to be bothering them. I'm the one who's asking for their favor. I'm the one who's trying to promote something. Everybody hates like telemarketing or email marketing. So I don't want to be that person. I just want to be as genuine, and I just want to be friend with them and get to know them. The last advice that I can share with you is to create a lot of work and use a lot of different platforms to promote those works. What do I mean by that? Yes, I did make some connections through emailing, through going to events, asking people for meetups, but I also got a lot of work from Instagram and Twitter. And it wasn't that I was trying to promote my work from Instagram, but because I put out a lot of work and my voice is clear there and people get to know who I am there, a lot of clients come to me because I think they see what kind of person I am, what kind of personality I am, and they could see what kind of demography I could be put into in creating a book cover. So sometimes all you think about when you're trying to enter a certain industry is that you have to be specifically targeting that industry, but not at all. A book cover industry is very, very flexible, and they have a very wide range of audience. You can be making book for middle grades, you can be making book covers for adults, you can be making book covers for teenagers, and you don't need to try to cater to a certain kind of niche, but just be yourself. There's a lot of agents out there, and there are a lot of art directors out there, and there are a lot of book cover designers out there. They're getting younger and younger because every year they hire new people, and these younger people, they utilize social media to scout for illustrators, designers that are suitable for certain kind of projects. So yeah, that's my third advice, is to put your work out there. So to sum up, first you need to have a strong portfolio that is consistent and unique to your own voice. And then you need to start building your mailing list, asking people for coffee, going out to events, make some connections to art directors, designers, or just other illustrators who are working in the same field. And lastly, put your work out there. No matter what platform you're using, there will be people who notice your work and who would want to hire you for that. I hope this video is helpful, and I know I needed a lot of help when I was still in college, and I'm super thankful for my professors, for seniors, for alumni who were there to help me. If you would like to know more about this industry, or if you have any other questions about the illustration industry in general, let me know in the comment. And like, subscribe, all that kind of thing. I'll be trying to release more content and more of this sharing of tips, sharing of ideas, and sharing of my experience working as an illustrator. I'll see you in the next video. So I hope that helps. I can still get into more details about the book cover